The Podsters, episode 35.
Welcome back, Podsters.
Welcome. It's the week of Halloween.
Yes, boo.
Ooh. Are you excited?
Yes, it was really exciting. I think we've pretty much gone almost every year except for the years that it's rained or whatever. But
where have we gone?
Oh, I thought you said that.
I said it's Halloween week. Are you excited?
Oh, oh my God, I'm totally ahead of myself. Sorry, because I had to cough earlier, and that's pretty much going to get edited out anyway. So, yesterday we went to the Dia de los Muertos festival. Fiesta in San Antonio. Yes. And that's like the original Day of the Dead festival that we've, I guess, started going to.
Yeah, and I think around this area when that started and we started going, because we've gone from the first year they did it, that was the festival here.
Yeah, that was the one and only, and it was fairly small. It was a small thing. I mean, I could possibly count the people that were there the first time we went.
Oh yeah, it wasn't big at all. It was a couple of vendors in one little part of the square, and then I don't even know if they had like stuff on the big stage.
Yeah, I think, well, no, not on the big stage, but I think by this time around, they did have like a lot of music going on in the Artisan Theater.
Yeah, they did too, and they haven't. Yeah, I mean, it's grown exponentially the past 4 years?
No, I would say like 3 to 4 years.
4 years, I think. It's one year we didn't go because it rained, so we've been missing one.
But there's tons of people, and I mean, we have to go back to the beginning of our podcast, way in the beginning, like episode 1.
Yes, I think it was episode 1 or 2 where we did an interview with some people we brought there.
Yes, and I have to go back to that because it has gotten more commercialized than ever.
Yeah.
There's a lot more vendors with a lot more like t-shirts and knickknacks and stuff like that. I mean, they're all handmade, and it's a crafty way of, making some extra cash or whatever. It was cute. They had some really good, clever stuff there, I have to say. But for the most part, I think it was commercialized. You had the major beer companies sponsoring and stuff like that. So,
well, I think you kind of have to as you expand, as you grow it.
Yeah, I would assume so.
I mean, at least hopefully the artists performing, at least on the Artisan Theater, get some sort of reimbursement for their time. Well,
you would hope so. And I'm sure they would.
No, but I'm saying, so with all that, when you have a free event, and you do have a lot of live music and performances of all kinds, you kind of got to bring in the sponsors. It's inevitable.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I know that when we were playing,
I mean, a lot goes into putting on an event like that.
Yes, and when people start events, they try, with the whole, can't you guys come and play for free? Maybe you can get a hot dog, and it's like, no, you can't do it if it's too far away. So to be able to get performers and stuff, I think you got to invite sponsors. And sponsors of events always seem to be alcoholic beverage companies.
San Antonio area is really lacking in the whole music scene where they can possibly get some new bands in there that are willing to do it for free, basically.
Yeah,
because they want to get out there, they want to be known and stuff. I don't know. I don't know how those things happen. I'd like to put on something like that at one point, or just be a part of it, to put it on. But I'd really like to know the whole goings on and how they.
We did a thing called Weird Stock way back in the 90s in Stockholm. A bunch of bands, and it's fun, but it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine so.
A lot. So I don't even think we broke even at the end of the day, but lesson learned.
Yeah, I would.
It's a fun experience,
I would think
though,
that
for
you
sure.
would have to be very conscious of the money that it takes to put on something like that.
Yeah, it's certainly not cheap, that's for sure. So that they have sponsors, I get that. As far as being commercialized, yes, for sure. It's almost boring. Because also I get that it's artisan and craft, but it's pretty much the same stuff in every booth.
Yeah, and it's almost kind of like, something that people are bringing in something that's mass produced and they just put a little bit of glitter on it and say it's their own kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of that.
But what I'm trying to say is that in a sense it is commercialized and it's lost its actual meaning.
Yeah, for that part it is. Yeah, I agree with our guest last year, where it's more of an event.
Yeah, it's just more of a party anyway. It's just a...
But there's some other...
But it's nice. It's nice to, you see the cultural aspect of it, but it's just like you're seeing the top layer of that.
But I think any kind of event like that, you do just get to see the icing of the cake. If you really want to go into it, I think it becomes too boring and too educational for the most part.
But I know that there are some festivals coming up next weekend in San Antonio that are doing something that's more educational.
You took the words right out of my mouth. No, I was going to say, but it's also, I think, an event like this has spawned these other ones, smaller events that are more educational, that are more workshops, and why do we do this? What's behind it? So in a sense too, without this one being so big and what it's grown into, we probably wouldn't have seen all these other little smaller festivals popping up.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because, I would say I'm a quote unquote watered down Mexican. For the most part, because I don't speak Spanish very well. I'm not fluent in it at all. Let's see. And, I'm kind of like 5th generation here in Texas. So, I think my heritage has lost its like value. Not so much. I don't know if I'm talking. Oh my God. Okay. So I just think that like as the years go by with each generation, they lose that one tradition. And as each generation goes on, they pretty much have lost the things that mattered to their ancestors at one point.
Well, of course. And I don't think that's very strange, because if you think of me, I'm the first generation Swede here. So I know what went back, or what's going on in the old country, so to speak. If we were to have kids, first off, they wouldn't be 100% Swedish.
Right.
And we wouldn't do everything you do in Sweden, like every tradition, right?
Right.
So I think, as you say, as generations go by, in a sense, you lose it, but then again, you gain others. Like you get American traditions
Americanized traditions.
Yeah, and then it gets a hodgepodge of both kind of thing. And I don't think that's strange, because I have a hard time with people that move across the world and completely enforces their traditions 100% to where they came from, where it's like, it's not appropriate where you live now.
Right.
And some of them are really locally based. It's based on weather. It's based on, certain things. And when you're taking all those elements out of it, it's like, it becomes tradition just for the sake of tradition.
Right.
And I think that's kind of horrible too.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it becomes, because it becomes kind of fake if you do it that way, in a sense too. Oh, you need to remembering things. But yeah, but where are we from? I don't know. Okay, so why are we doing it? It's kind of like Wurstfest, where they run around and fucking eating sausages, drinking beer in lederhosens and listen to Oompa Boompa music.
Yeah.
If you go to Germany today, people, even in the Alps, aren't dressed in lederhosens. They don't listen to Oompa. You know what I mean?
Right.
The hits of the day in Germany is whatever we listen to everywhere else. So it becomes kind of silly when you do it that way.
It's an exaggeration of the culture, I
Right,
think,
but it
whenever
almost-
they do festivals like that.
Yeah, but it almost becomes like that, I think, even in households that really stick to, whatever native country your family came from. When you stick to it that hard, it almost becomes a caricature of how things are done
Yeah.
there. Because you're stuck so many generations behind. Mm-hmm. But I'm really interested. I really wish we have the time to go and check out these other festivals, or at least one of them next weekend.
Yeah, I hope we have time
So
to
we
do
can
that.
compare to
Exactly.
the one today, because it is fun, but it's certainly more of just a festival.
And I find it interesting that I've learned something about my culture, about my heritage by doing this.
Right.
And I've almost found like a piece of me that I can actually say, hey, this is part of my heritage. And it's a beautiful thing. To me, it is. And I don't know if it's because I have this infatuation with death or whatever. I know this sounds really morbid right now, but no, I mean, I've always liked, I nerd out with, ghost adventures
Right.
and stuff. And I'm getting off topic and stuff, but
No, but I mean, I find it nice to, and it's like I said with the interviews last year, I'm not a fan. I understand grief and sorrow. Mm-hmm. But I also think that you have to have a positive outlook on death.
Yeah.
It's really uncertain. Yes, the person that's gone isn't with us anymore.
Right.
But we really, in reality, we don't know what happens afterwards. Mm-hmm. And to have a person's last goodbye be a bunch of tears and sadness alone, I don't think it's cool. I think it's much healthier to actually kind of have the dumb, what's it called? Always look on the bright
Be
side
optimistic.
of life. Not optimistic so much, but just like in life, it's ups and downs. There's laughter and sorrow.
Yeah.
So when somebody's last goodbye just turns into sorrow, to me, that's kind of morbid. Because most people have lived rich, great lives. Mm-hmm. Like
and most people go when they know when they're ready to go.
Right. And when I'm gone, I would hate to have my last goodbye to be a bunch of people just moping around. I wasn't the guy that just moped around. I don't need a bunch of organ music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to celebrate me? Like Melly says, have a whiskey and a smoke. And then crank up some rock and roll. I mean, I think it's a healthy way of doing it. But it'll be real interesting if we can go down and compare the different festivals with each other.
Yeah.
And once we've done that, we'll let you guys know. Ooh, speaking of Ghost Adventures and nerding out, can I just say that I'm so excited that they're having the 4-hour special on Halloween?
Oh my gosh.
I'm
I
counting
don't
down
even
to
know if I want to
Wednesday.
watch it. I'm afraid to watch it
Why?
because it's scary.
Because they're going to open the most haunted object in the world.
The Dybbuk
Dybbuk box. Well, I'm not too afraid because even though it's supposed to be the most haunted object in the world, there's plenty of them out there.
Yeah.
There's not just one Dybbuk box.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. We'll see.
that's what I'm excited
I
about.
might come up here and say some prayers or something while you're watching it. I don't know.
Well, it'll be fun nonetheless.
Yeah. And so next week, I'm hoping to have some guests here, possibly my parents.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we took them to the Day of the Dead festival.
Yeah, they've never been.
They'd never been. And we also took my sister, who happened to be in a wheelchair at the time.
Uh-huh.
Not that she's like in a wheelchair constantly, but she broke her leg, and so we had to put her in a wheelchair to go around the festival. And I don't understand why she came to begin with, but whatever. We had fun. It was cool. So hopefully we can get all three of them in here to discuss their experience.
Oh, you're gonna have to wait a while.
Why is that?
How are you gonna get a wheelchair up here?
Oh man, I forgot.
Well, maybe we'll have some guests speaking about their experiences.
Yeah, maybe.
And
Just
you also
like,
wanted to do a little.
yeah.
What did you want to do? A retail horror story?
Yeah, just like I still need to talk to my potential guests and having them up here, and hopefully Penny won't be in here when they're here if they decide to come and speak on the podcast, because Penny is passing some gas. That's whew. Oh my God.
Up. Let's move on.
It stinks. Okay, so so I'd like to have some former retail associates in the Podster studio to talk about retail horror stories.
All in the joyful spirit of Halloween.
Yes.
But I think you had one to share yourself today as a little taste of what might come.
There were so many. And, I told you I wanted to talk about it, but I can't think of the one. There's one that I want to save for when we have our guests.
Okay, but if you just pick another one then.
Oh my gosh, I can't think. Well, there was this one guy that we called Crazy Carl.
And what was crazy about Carl?
Crazy Carl, his eyes were always like bulging open, like he never blinked. He wore glasses. He was probably about 6'3", and he just looked like crazy psycho.
Did he always wear overalls and a trucker cap?
No, but he worked at the restaurant right next to where I worked, and he would always come in to sell CDs or buy CDs and stuff like that, and he would sing the music.
Oh, great.
He was like, that song? And then he'd start singing it, and he'd be like, I want that CD. And I'm like, oh shit, motherfucker, why?
Yeah, I never did retail, but it's funny though, because I had a friend who worked at a department store's record department or whatever.
Yeah.
And there would be people coming in being all like, okay, so I need you to help me because I need this song. It's, baby. You know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you get me that one?
Yeah, sure. I got plenty of those questions. And I was
bet.
like, oh my God. Thank God I'm a music person because I know my shit. But if you ask me about anything recent, I'd be like, I don't know, go ask one of those other kids over there, please. No, but Crazy Carl would come in and he would sell his CDs back to us, and we bought you CDs, whatever. Anyhow, and oh my God, it reeked. He had this backpack and it reeked of weed for one. Like stanky dank, like stale, like, disgusting bong water smell. And
so the CD stunk like that too?
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
That was
good one,
that
Carl.
was fun for one. Okay, and Crazy Carl, the reason why we called him Crazy Carl was because he was kind of spastic, and his goal in life was to make dinner rolls.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're just like, he's a customer. Just keep him happy. Don't spook the crazy. Okay? Just don't spook the crazy. Whatever you do, just smile and nod. And, of course, whenever people sell their CDs, we have to go through all the CDs and make sure they're not scratched and the artwork's there and stuff, the covers and stuff. Right? Okay, so I start flipping through these CDs and I'm like, what the fuck? What? Things start like springing out at me, like popping out, and I look closer and it's a bunch of pubes.
Ew,
I was like,
Carl.
oh my god, what did you do? Did you just shave your junk
Shame on
over
you,
your
Carl.
CDs or something? It was disgusting. I was like that.
Did you
I
guys
was like,
learn to wear like plastic gloves?
no,
looking through them?
unfortunately, no, they didn't. And I do have another story on that. I mean, I swear we should have all been just wearing rubber gloves constantly.
Uh-huh.
Because one of our coworkers actually picked up a used condom in one of the magazine slots.
Ew. Somebody had fun over
the porno mags. Yeah, so she had to go to the hospital and get tested.
Ew.
Oh my God, I was like, I'm never digging through that shit again.
And guys, this is just the preview of the retail horror stories.
Yes!
Oh, that's disgusting. I'm glad I've never done retail.
Ooh, people are disgusting.
Yep. Well, I knew
Really,
that
honestly,
without,
I mean,
who the fuck does that?
I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of shit that went on that I was like, do people actually do this crap in their own home too?
Right?
Honestly, okay, so I'm not going to get any further into this because I could be giving away a lot more crap. And so...
And once we get those guests, we will.
Yeah, they will validate the fact that it was... Where we used to work was hell. I mean, and speaking of that, my bullshit of the week are those anal bitches about their coupons and discounts and stuff, and them not reading the advertisements or signage correctly and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I get that some of those signages or whatever for pricing and stuff like that for sales is very deceptive.
True, but here's my thing. Most of those coupons aren't worth very much.
Right.
And the item you're buying isn't a high-priced item to begin with.
And this was like back in the day when we sold VHS.
Well, no. I mean, it goes on today at HEB as well. All of a sudden, you're standing in line, and the lady in front of you starts haggling the guys over like 66 cents.
Yes.
In coupons. And then she gets upset when everybody else gets upset with her for taking up the time. I mean, like I said, I would understand if you're buying a high-priced item and we're talking discounts of hundreds of dollars. And
then I could understand somebody being upset about it.
Right,
but when it's like 10 cents over a used VHS, I mean, it's like, come on, really?
Well, that was back in the day. But
and that was the tail end of the obsolescence, or the, what is it, the extinction.
The extinction of VHS.
VHS.
Yeah, but even in the grocery stores, I mean, you go in there, you buy stuff for $235, and you're going to haggle about 66 cents.
Right.
That's what I mean. There's no proportion to it.
I kind of become a dumb consumer sometimes, and I'll be shopping for stuff, and I'll be like, oh, look, there's a store coupon. I'll use it. Da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
And I go and use it at the checkout, and they're like, oh, you have to buy 3 of these in order to get $1 discount. And it's like, what the fuck? Okay, whatever. Just... throw that coupon away and take away whatever I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to hold up the line and like, call the manager. I need the regional manager in here, and I'm not moving until he's here. I'm going to hold up the line.
People like that, though, are the ones that really scam the system, because they're the ones that are they're going to bitch and yell and stand there, and all management wants to do is get them the hell out of there.
Yep.
So they're going to give them a fucking discount to shut them the fuck up and get the hell out of there because they're making a scene.
Yeah, but you people are just so annoying.
It is. It's really ugly.
I mean, I get it. Every penny saved turns into something huge at the end of your life. But seriously, 66 cents and bullshit like that. Why did you come to the store if you can't spare those 66 cents to begin with?
Yeah, I think my sister got into a fight with a lady because she was working at a drugstore at one point in time. She got, the lady got mad because she didn't get that penny discount.
Yeah.
1 penny.
Yeah, well, a penny saved is a penny not spent.
That's just insane.
Yeah, it's completely insane. And if you're one of those people, grow the fuck up.
Really? So, the other day I was reading online.
Uh-oh.
There was an article. No, there was an article, and it kind of caught my interest.
Uh-huh.
It was basically an article on the phone jack versus Bluetooth.
Uh-huh.
And it was talking about the sound quality of each component, and pretty much the phone jack still has the better sound quality.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that was pretty interesting. As much as technology has taken us, they still can't, perfect that sound quality that the phone jack had.
Right.
And then to top that off, if you think about it, I'm being very lenient with the years here, but I would say anybody 30 and under would not know the sound of good quality audio.
Right. No, I fully agree. What's funny to begin with, did you know that the Bluetooth was invented in Scandinavia? And it took its name from a Viking king named Harald Bluetooth.
Yes, I did know that.
And the weird symbol for Bluetooth is actually his name in rune.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you knew.
I knew that because I watched too much Travel Channel, or is it...
No, it wasn't. You learned it on Expedition Unknown, I think, the Viking episode.
Yeah, so that's on the Travel Channel.
Yeah, Travel Channel.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Well, it's kind of funny, though. I'm not really surprised that a wired connection, so to speak, is better than a wireless connection. We could dork out on this forever, but we'll keep it short. No, but really, what happens in the and this has been a pain in the butt for probably the past 30 years, at least in the music industry, is that the best sound you can get from a guitar is with a good, and here's the thing too, with wired connections, the wire matters too, but let's not delve too far into it. The best sound you can get, the most authentic sound, and obviously without interruptions, is to have a good cable for your instrument, and you plug it into your amplifier and you play. And if the cable isn't broken, you won't get any delays, it won't cut out, it won't do anything.
Okay.
They came up, but Bluetooth basically means wireless.
Right.
So about in the 80s, they started coming up with these wireless transmitters and senders. So basically, if you're on a huge stage, you plug your guitar into, in a sense, the Bluetooth part of your phone. And then you don't have a cable to your amp. You have a little receiver picking up the signal with the amp. And that has caused tremendous problems over the years for artists.
Yeah.
You get stuff where all of a sudden, obviously, the sound just dies.
Yeah.
You get delays on the sound.
Yes.
So you're sounding like, in a sense, it's skipping. But basically what happens if you're playing music, it makes you sound like you're not playing to the beat of the music because it gets that weird delay and skip, or you're cutting in and out. And it does alter sound. It alters sound so much that Angus Young, his guitar sound initially was just a really loud Marshall amp cranked to 10. That was the first couple of albums. If you listen from Back to Black and onwards, he has a little bit raw guitar sound.
And for those of you who don't know who Angus Young is?
Oh, yeah, sorry. He's the guitarist of AC/DC.
Okay. Continue.
Good catch. So, Angus's sound is very distinct, and it actually comes from the fact that somehow the sound, when he started using a wireless device, it even altered the sound that you get from your amp, thanks to the wireless thing. And he likes it so much that he actually, even when he records albums, well, from 1980 and forward, he's in the studio with his wireless device playing away because it gives a different sound than a cable to your amp. What was the point of that, you guys ask? Well, the simple fact that, as Michelle said, it not only do you have problems, potential problems with skipping and delay and stuff, you actually get an altercation of the sound you're hearing.
Right.
So if you take even your phone and plug it to a stereo or something, the sound you get is going to sound different than Bluetooth to the stereo. And I don't know. I mean, we say the technology, but see, I think the problem is that we have a lot of interference in the air. And anything wireless, you can't shield it. That's really also the reason why a cable is better. All this interference, electromagnetic fields, other, if you saw on transmitting radio frequencies, so your FM radio, your AM radio, all that, all the airwaves, when you're wireless, does kind of interfere with it. And I don't think there's a way you could ever shield your wireless sound. Like saying that, hey, I'm Michelle, this is my phone, now I'm shielding it to go here. When you do that and your neighbor has Bluetooth on or something, or somebody cranks their radio, you are going to get transmittance interference. But I totally agree also with the fact that I don't think people under 30 really cares. Or they don't know.
They just like the convenience of the Bluetooth, especially the Bluetooth earbuds these days and stuff. And I'm not that technologically advanced.
Right.
I don't need the wireless, earbuds. I can use, the regular earbuds with wires.
Well, I use them simply because of the sound difference. I prefer the sound I get.
And there is definitely a sound difference when you.
Oh, there is. I mean, it has been from when everything recorded was analog and put on vinyl.
Yeah.
To CD. When they started doing CDs, you got a different kind of sound.
Yeah.
And why you get it, let's not do that in this podcast. It has to do with compression ratios and stuff. You have to compress things differently. And then you got an even worse sound when you started using what we do today, which is completely digital recordings that then get compressed really hard to be put on, well, anything, Google Music, YouTube, and everything.
Yeah, when you have to upload it.
Yeah, because that compresses things even harder. And then people are supposed to listen to it, and people these days don't even have fancy stereo systems for the most part.
Right.
And that is also why we, and basically the record industry, the music industry on a whole, can get away with basically home recordings. If you compare a recording from the 1970s in a big studio with the big mixing boards, everything analog, the big tapes, everything, and you compare to what most records are being recorded on today for financial reasons, it's night and day. And it is a huge difference in the sound quality too. The problem, if you so want it, is that old-fashioned technology isn't needed today if all you do is put Bluetooth earbuds in, or you're listening to your music from sound bars for your TV and stuff. The difference becomes audible if you have a nice
it's almost
hi-fi
like you have to treat
stereo
a
system.
listening or audio device like a fine wine, like music connoisseurs, like
if you are a music connoisseur, for sure. I think that the thing today is that people in general
have to have specific amps and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know for a fact that if you play in front of a live audience, you can bring the shittiest equipment out there as long as you're in tune and play. Nobody that's just a person there will hear any sort of audible difference. Me as a musician do. There's even a Swedish guy, we won't mention, John Norum, who in the middle of sets changes tubes in his amps because they do give off a little bit different sound.
Oh, wow.
That's something that no one does, but Mr. John does that. So halfway through a Europe set, he'll have some poor little technician be out there swapping out tubes in his amp.
Oh, I thought he maybe did it himself. That would be funny.
No, he did. He doesn't have to these days, but he requires that. So it's like, keep talking, because now John is changing his tubes for one song, and then it's like, change it back, because he can hear it. No, the audience wouldn't hear a difference if he kept the same tube through and played through a shitty little solid-state amp. But if you're a musical connoisseur, an audio connoisseur, you will hear a difference. I mean, I'm convinced that's the reason Dave Grohl bought out, was it Sound City stuff?
Yeah, he
And
bought their soundboard, their
yeah,
mixing board.
their mixing board, because it's one of a kind. Cost a lot of money to build back in the day, and probably
And what, he
cost
bought
him,
it for like $75,000.
yeah, and that's nothing really to what they paid for it originally.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Why would you pay $75,000 for a mixing board when you could do what we do, which is basically have these microphones and a little thing, plug it in, because you can record this way?
Yeah.
Well, the reason is simply the sound quality for an audio file.
And I think that was the whole point of the whole Sound City documentary, and
Yes.
the musical collaborations between the different singers, artists, bands.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's sad that people don't listen to music the way we used to.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, that's the reason you can get away with it today. I mean, back in the day, to record an album cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And today, there's record companies out there that they give the artist budgets of like $8,000. Go record. And keep in mind, too, that back in the day, you were lucky if you could put 10 songs on an album, which had to do with how many tracks you can put in vinyl, basically, how many grooves. So you could basically do about 40 minutes tops of music. And today, the requirement with CDs, which came with CDs, was you can get like 60 70, I think, minutes of music on. Mm-hmm. So the albums became longer. They went from being, 10 songs to 14, 15 songs. And all the while, today you're required to record 15 songs with a budget of under $10,000, where back in the day we talked maybe $400,000 to record the same thing. It's all audio quality, but today nobody cares because they have their little buds in, or however they listen.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. What's cool though is that there's a crazy increase of vinyl sales these days.
Oh, yeah.
Vinyl has picked up, God, what did I read? From Sound Pollution, which is one of the major distributors in Sweden, or from Sweden. It was something crazy. From 2014 to today, I think it's gone up 100%.
Do you think this is just a fad, though? Do you think this is like a hipster thing, or do you think it's more or less people that feel nostalgic about their
No, I think there's a combination.
music?
No, not at all, because people who are just nostalgic are kind of like me. In terms of it, Google Play is great. You can get all your albums on one thing. Uh-huh. I honestly think it started as a hipster thing, but it turned into something good, because I think people came over to the hipster and listened to the record and went, holy shit, is this the same song that I had in my earbuds? And the hipster goes, yep, but it's vinyl, man, and you got to have this and, whatever fancy equipment. And people started realizing that, wait, there is an actual difference.
You have to have a record player.
Yeah, and good speakers and a good amplifier and everything, and it's a heck of a lot of difference listening to it. So I don't think it's a fad. I think people have we got swept away in technology for technology's sake. And at one point here, I think people have just realized that, yeah, that's good and all, it's convenient, but you have to go back to the basics to get that full
quality of sound.
Yeah, and get the full experience.
Yeah.
Because it is something special, really, if you can blare your music loud, mm-hmm. to listen to a vinyl record, really loud volume, and look at the record, like look at the sleeve and everything. And
yeah.
That's an experience. When you turn something on in your earbuds, it's like me. That's me walking the dogs. To me, it's something you do. It's like a distraction, or you have an earbud in at work because it helps you get through the day. But that's not an experience. The experience is when you can crank something up and you have the artwork. You get the whole concept. Mm-hmm. It's different. And I think people are just realizing that again, that it's something. So, guys,
what do you think?
What do you think?
Are the Bluetooth earbuds just as good as, the phone jack earbuds? Do you think you're missing out on quality audio because you're a millennial. No, just kidding. I love to pick on you millennials. It's so awesome. And I just love the look on your faces when I poke at you. It is so funny. You know who you are.
You're so cute.
Okay. So I think this was a great podcast for today.
And let us know if you thought it was great too. Leave comments below on Facebook or thepodsters@gmail.com.
And don't forget to leave us your retail horror stories. It doesn't have to be retail. It could be like anything in general.
Yeah, just give us a work-related horror story.
Work-related horror story would be awesome.
Until next week, when we continue the Halloween fun, hopefully. Yes. Have a spooky, great week and get all hopped up like spider monkeys on sugar.
Yes.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.